You are about to enter Chuck versus the Podcast, the only show that takes you behind the scenes with the stars.
Yvonne Strahovski.
Zachary Levi. Joshua Gomez.
Ryan McParland.
Adam Balda.
Sarah Lancaster.
Contests.
We are giving away a Chuck press kit.
The directors.
Jason Ensley. Norman Buckley.
The guest stars.
Steve Austin.
Kristin Group.
Conventions.
Lights come up, and here comes Jester out on stage.
Set visits.
This is the guy right here.
And much more. Are you ready? This is Gray.
This is Mel.
This is Liz.
And we want to welcome you to Chuck versus the Podcast, episode 89 for Friday, May 13th, 2011. Oh boy, Friday the 13th. Is that a bad omen? No, because Mel's got some good news.
It's my dad's birthday. Happy birthday, Dad.
Balances out the karma. So we're fine releasing a podcast today. And I have to interrupt this podcast with a very, very exciting announcement. We recorded this podcast on Tuesday night, and already Wednesday afternoon, the news broke. Variety magazine, Ausiello, Deadline, and a whole bunch more are saying that Chuck is going to be renewed. Now, this is not an official announcement from NBC, but for Variety, a very, very respected publication in the film industry, for Ausiello and Deadline to all report this, it means that the talks are going very well. NBC is not officially announcing it until they've actually signed the deal, which involves a lot of things like budget and salaries and things like that. They will be announcing one day earlier than expected. So Sunday, in a conference call at 2 p.m., they're going to announce their fall schedules, and we anticipate, everybody's anticipating that this is going to mean 13 episodes, and we do want to remind you that every single season to date, NBC has always ordered 13 episodes initially, and then they have the option to extend it after that. So this doesn't mean that there's only 13. It could indeed get extended even further than that. But this is great, great news. And who knows, even by the time you listen to this, NBC might have officially announced it. And so for the rest of this podcast, there might be some references to the renewal not being announced yet. And you'll just have to, this is just breaking news. You'll just have to keep watching our Twitter and keep watching chucktv.net for the official announcement from NBC. But this is great, great news, and we hope you're very, very encouraged. And please absolutely still do watch live on Monday night for the finale. And here we are back to our regularly scheduled podcast recording. Wow, awesome stuff. We have only one more episode left this season, and presumably Monday, maybe sooner, last year it was sooner, we're going to hear about the renewal and and then the finale. Oh my goodness, what a setup we have from Monday's episode. We got to get through some news, and then we're going to talk all about an amazing penultimate episode of the season. Liz, what have you got for us?
Well, in ratings news, Chuck versus the Last Details started down They started down at 7%, but adjusted back up in the final numbers to be on par with last week's 1.4 in the 18 to 49 demo, with approximately 4.1 million people who tuned in to watch. It was a down or stagnant week across the board, with only Castle and the Chicago Code rising from last week. The Chicago Code, is that on later at night?
Yeah, it's on at 8.
Yeah.
9, 8.
So, yeah. I'm thinking people were out for their springtime walk. We'll just go with that.
Well, the Not a Nielsen Family campaign has been very successful, and the latest advertiser to reach out directly to Chuck fans is Super Shuttle. They were featured in Chuck versus the Wedding Planner. Mm-hmm. They were blown away by the response they received from the Not a Nielsen Family campaign. So they're offering Chuck fans a special deal as a thank you. Now through July 31st, 2011, Chuck fans can receive a 10% discount on Super Shuttle services, including during Comic-Con in July. They specifically had the coupon last through the end of July to accommodate Comic-Con. So from WeGiveAChuck.com, here are the details. You visit their website, supershuttle.com, to book your shuttle. You can also find the apps on the iPhone and Android for those fans that are always on the go. Mm-hmm. And then when booking your trip, simply type Chuck into the discount code box, and your discount should be automatically applied, 10%. It's valid in all Super Shuttle locations throughout the U.S., and it can be used for any shared ride or an ExecuCare private sedan service. So we encourage you to take advantage of this offer and give Super Shuttle a measurable return on the ad dollars they spent on Chuck. That's very effective. They've already tweeted a few times and said they're just overwhelmed by the response. They're very happy. That's the way to go. At this point, I think NBC's pretty much made their decision. But if the decision is yes, if the decision is season 5, keeping those sponsors happy through the summer is a good thing.
Very, very good thing. And hey, what an easy discount code.
Oh, yeah. Chuck.
Chuck, man. Very cool. So speaking about Chuck, hey, a good segue. Well, okay, everything's about
He
Chuck.
hasn't lost his touch.
Yeah. We're going to talk about the penultimate episode. I love that word, penultimate. And the reason I love that word is because penultimate episodes of almost every TV show are awesome episodes because they're setting up the 1-2 punch with the finale. And this episode absolutely delivered on that note. What did you guys think of it?
That was, wow. Firing on all cylinders. That was a fantastic episode.
Mm-hmm.
It was funny. It was heartwarming. It was dramatic. It was action-packed. And then, that twist at the end.
Yeah, and boy, they covered a lot of ground. Like every character, I think, was in it, and every character was serviced. And I mean, great storyline for Morgan.
Yeah.
And pretty decent storyline for Vivian, and really gave her arc some interest. You got Ray Wise in there with some really juicy scenes. I mean, a lot happening.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually felt at one point towards the end there during the dinner that as they were panning around to the entire cast, I almost felt like, wow, this is really more like a season finale than the penultimate. I can't even say the word. I'm sorry. It's one of those words that I just can't get my mouth to say. So suck it to the last episode.
Yeah. And oh my goodness. Speaking of packed, the Star Wars references in this episode, I'm amazed they even got the rights to use the music. I mean, that was killer.
I loved how they were using it to point out that Sarah is so not a nerd.
Uh-huh.
And when she's like the chewy thing, she's like, what are you talking? He didn't even take a bite. What do you mean chewy? I don't understand. And Chuck's like, what? I love you. It was so adorable.
Yeah.
But yeah, when they started with the theme to the Star Wars theme, the hairs on my arm started to stand up. I was like, oh my gosh, they are totally doing that, aren't they?
Oh,
and,
yeah.
It was fun.
In the same way that it serviced the Chuck and Sarah relationship, it also serviced the Morgan and Chuck relationship.
Yeah.
The same references, which is just, it's brilliant writing.
Yeah. Which this was Henry Alonso Myers and Kristin Newman.
God, Kristin Newman's becoming a favorite very quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, and a lot went into this one, you can tell. And even just like what seemed to be little throwaway things. I love the fun moment at the beginning where Morgan is dangling and Chuck has to go acrobatically up to rescue him. Like it was just a little like juice into the fun, but it worked so well. It was such a great classic why we love Chuck kind of scene.
Yeah.
And Sarah got to be proud of him, like back in, oh gosh, which episode was that? When she does something in front of Awesome and Chuck gets to be proud of her in front of Awesome.
Yeah.
There's just this really nice symmetry to the episode. I was giggling when I watched it the second time. I realized that the van sequence where Chuck is driving it backwards was a callback to the pilot. When Sarah's driving her. And when I realized that, I just burst out laughing. I mean, that's just these little Easter eggs. And Kristin Newman and Rafe and Lauren are the writers that seem to do that the most.
Mm-hmm.
Just shows how well they know the show. I just love it when they do things like that, and that they're organic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not a, hey, look, we're throwing in a reference for the diehards.
Yeah.
Kind of a hee, look what we did there.
Yeah.
I loved Ellie in this episode. She was so stressed out, and but she was, you didn't mess with her. Just like, do what I tell you to do or get out of my way. I will hurt you. I will hurt you. It was so funny.
And Jeff comes through for her.
Yes.
And he gets a big old kiss from Ellie.
Yeah.
Die happy.
I was floored when it was Jeff that turned out to be the one to put that together. I was totally and completely floored. I did not see that coming at all.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Oh, yeah, but it was great. I mean, it reminded me of when they were singing, was it Leaving on a Jet Plane? And there's Jeff in his little glasses. And it's like, there's a reminder that underneath that craziness, there is something there. There's a guy who can win Missile Command, like for the whole world. I mean, there's a guy who can read somebody's mind and write CIA. I mean, there's something underneath, but it's like he's the absent-minded professor or something.
Yeah.
It's so buried by the beer and the chloroform and, the 1,250 hours of Sarah footage.
Oh, my goodness.
Gosh. It is too bad Cisco discontinued the flip camera.
Uh-huh.
Because that was huge product placement for them.
Oh, yeah.
Truly.
Stalkers, get your camera now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Lester's reaction to the video. What the heck is this? I wonder what it would have been. Oh my gosh.
I don't want to know. I don't need to see any more of Lester's cut. That was disturbing.
Yeah, that was quite disturbing. And we had some great Mama Bartowski and some very cute interplay with Sarah.
Yes. She called Sarah sweetheart. Did you notice that? In the cell? She says something, sweetheart, you have a wedding.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I missed that.
Yeah, she was clearly looking at Sarah, but I think it kind of went right over Sarah's head that she had just been called sweetheart by.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was cute. That was cute.
And Casey did not want to stay. He was like, I'm out of here. I'm going with Chuck.
Yeah.
Smart man.
I thought it was kind of funny that Mama Bartowski was like, I'll stay here. I'll go through a couple of rounds of torture. Like it was nothing.
Did you catch the reference to T2?
Oh, which was that?
It was a little shot of her on the surveillance camera, the guard's video monitor. She was doing push-ups on her bed frame.
Oh, she was. Oh, I missed that.
Yep. Yeah. It was totally a Terminator reference.
It so is.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. You know what? I have to admit, I love this not a Nielsen family thing, but it makes it so much harder to watch the episode. And I'm sure the live chat does the same thing. Well,
I'm live chatting and tweeting and watching this show, and yeah, that's why I have to watch it again.
Yeah, I wish I could have. I'd like to watch them again, but this time I couldn't. And doing that and having my eyes off the show, it's
yeah.
I
missed that the first time around. I missed it, so it was a nice little surprise the second time.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of stuff in there that you're going to the second time. You're like, oh my gosh, like the Wii tennis.
Yeah,
that's a reference to Zachary Levi. Remember back in the first season? That was a big anecdote. Was that he had hurt his hand playing Wii. Yeah. Yeah, that was a reference to Zach.
Yeah. Funny.
And how fun was the whole storyline with Morgan?
His Italian accent. Woo!
His accents in the beginning, trying to be the part.
Kill the puppy.
Oh my gosh! I was laughing so hard I couldn't type.
And then he did perfectly.
Yeah. Yes. He was mighty believable laying down on that floor there.
Now, something that I was thinking about today, as I was kind of looking over what other people had written about it to see what we'd missed, because of course there's always something that when I'm working on my notes for what to talk about, I realized that nobody mentioned that at the rehearsal dinner, which there was no rehearsal. I don't know if you guys noticed that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We'll just do the celebration. Let's just party. We're not going to rehearse.
Works for me.
He tells Casey that he's going to tell Alex he's out. He's not going to go on any more missions.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't want her to worry.
Yeah.
I mean, how long is that going to last?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but nobody's talking about that. That Morgan has decided to step back because she's worried, and because Casey's worried.
Mhm.
But
Again, another mirror of Chuck.
Mhm.
You know, I'm not going to do this anymore.
Mm.
It's too dangerous. There's too much at stake. But in the end,
you're out.
you know, because by this point, Morgan has already proven that he's got quite a bit to bring to the table for the team.
Mm-hmm.
He does.
And he's
And
proven
now-
his worth.
And Sarah's in danger. He's not sitting out on that one.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, unless he just becomes an Alfred, like the
And he
guy,
could.
the guy back at the base.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Or
but
He's
Hugh.
guy.
I could see that happening because he's not good out in the field.
Well, he was as the Italian. Pretty well.
Yeah.
He put the glasses down so Casey could do that crazy sniper shooting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right? How about that?
Mhm.
That was really, really cool. Very
Through the
unrealistic. but
walls.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Shooting through the walls again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know how Casey likes to shoot things from far away.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then, and we have a theme throughout the episode. From the beginning, Ray Wise is teaching Vivian how to step up
Mhm.
and basically, so Ray Wise could step back and she could lead things, and then he dies at the end and she does step up.
I thought you were going to say the what could go wrong theme.
Oh yeah, there was that too.
But yeah, I'd like that they finally fleshed out her motives a little bit more. I've always felt like she was the weak link in this storyline. She just about-faced so quickly
Mm-hmm.
and felt betrayal immediately from someone she barely knew.
Mhm.
And this horrible betrayal that turns her into, as Mama Bartowski said, you know, in the short time you've known her, she's gone from an innocent co-ed to, you know, the world's worst arms dealer.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. True.
Maybe, you know, and that just was kind of, I think that was a kind of a throwaway reference, or just a kind of an acknowledgement that, yeah, her transformation's been fast.
Mhm.
We understand that, we realize that. So we got that fleshed out a little bit more. And I think it's that Riley has been manipulating her
Mhm.
hardcore.
Yeah.
You know, he's lost Alexei and he needs a Volkov at the reins, at the helm. And so she's been a little bit lost, and he's been able to prey on, you know, insecurities and doubts and try to mold her into the new Volkov.
Mhm.
Yeah, and you could see her hesitating sometimes. She seemed at times a little unsure as to whether this is what she should be doing. There are moments, even if they're blink of an eye moments, that she almost thinks, you know, maybe I should be listening to Chuck.
Mm-hmm.
And then she just wouldn't. And that frustrated me.
Mhm.
But really, what reason does she have to listen to Chuck over Riley?
Yeah.
Other than that Riley's telling her to kill people and Chuck's telling her not to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your basic sense of right and wrong ought to come in handy here, but Riley has somehow convinced her that the things he's telling her to do are the right thing to do.
Well, yeah, and I mean, to be fair, absent father for her whole life.
Mm-hmm.
Frost, Chuck's mom, betraying her father, and probably even being part of, like, presumably through this time, she might have even blamed her for having her father away so much, and then have her betray him, and then find out that his father was the one who turned Volkov into who he was, according to Wise, against his will.
How did they know that? Because last episode, they were trying to find that information and they didn't get it. So how do they know that?
I guess presumably they got it between the 2 episodes.
I guess so.
It was in the script.
Yeah. Yeah. That was that and Vivian's lack of dimensionality were the only 2 things that bugged me on this episode. But the Vivian thing they're dealing with, so we're getting more from her.
Yeah.
And Riley's dead now, so.
Yeah. And then we have the end that I saw some really angry tweets about the end of the episode.
I'm really surprised at how many people didn't see that coming, to be honest. But it was practically telegraphed through the whole episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And even before, I mean, if you had read any spoilers or watched our podcast 2 weeks ago, when I went through the whole thing without the chart and you guys had to try to follow along in your heads, what did I say was going to happen?
Right.
Now, that was in the spoiler section, so.
Yeah.
Based on some of the photos that were released.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And just putting, and some of the comments that had been made.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. Some people were in the know.
Yeah. I know some people were saying their kids were upset. And I think this is probably a reminder that Chuck is definitely parental guidance. A lot of older kids can watch it, and by older kids I mean like tweens and teens. But it's not necessarily one size fits all. So you definitely got to make sure to be aware of what your kids can handle and monitor appropriately.
Mm-hmm. Maybe watch it first and then let them watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when it gets towards a finale, because there's always more action, more bloodshed, more upping the stakes towards the finale.
Yeah. I am surprised at how many people think that Sarah's going to die. I mean,
that doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, and I have to admit, with these cliffhangers between episodes, it's sort of like when Awesome was captured and we thought he was dead, and then the promo shows him. Like, they got to be smarter about the promos.
Yeah,
but this promo shows her not well, and so that's what has
true.
a lot of people worried, is that she's not going to pull through. And I just don't. I mean, have we been watching the same show? We're not going to feel the love of the hero's life. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And Yvonne's just an incredible talent. They're not going to let her go.
Oh, yeah.
No. She's one of the main characters.
And when you have that kind of chemistry like Yvonne and Zach do, I mean, how many shows try to get that and they just can't? It's rare. It's very rare. So
Plus they have a contract for 7 seasons, I think.
6, yeah.
Oh, is it 6?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So don't
she
worry.
ain't going nowhere.
Enjoy the drama. Enjoy watching Chuck go all phase 3, or some are saying phase 6.
Yeah.
On Sarah's behalf, but she's not dead.
Yeah, though it will be. Oh my goodness! Talk about packing a lot into an episode. Next week's episode is going to be
because they've got to get all of that wrapped up. We've got the wedding to deal with, and then whatever the game changer is to set up season 5.
Yeah, and also even just straight budget. They've said that they spent a lot of money on the finale, like a lot of money.
Yeah, there's more. We've got more about that in the spoiler section, but I think he said it was the most expensive episode since the pilot.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Was there anything else that we should talk about? Oh, I like the little throwaway line that Sarah had at the beginning of the episode about her bridesmaids. I'm sorry they're not able to help with this. That coup is taking longer than expected. I just love it when they do stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
You know, they couldn't have them there for that episode, and they could have just ignored it altogether, but instead they gave us that.
I almost missed that, too. I almost missed it.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to watch this episode again.
Yeah.
I love that about, when a good episode comes and you watch it again, you catch so many things that you missed.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was the mannequin reference.
Oh, yeah.
Mannequin. Because didn't Chuck say at some point that, like, he had watched it and then he made out with mannequins? Or was that Zach? It was. I can't remember if it was the character or the actor, but that's another Easter egg.
Uh-huh. Wow. Well, I think that's about it for Chuck versus the Last Details. That was what it was called?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And next is Chuck versus the Cliffhanger. Monday night, after NBC's announcement. Actually, NBC could announce as early as Friday. They did. Last year was on Friday, I think.
I think it was. I can't remember. I have to go into the archives.
Yeah. So at some point we're going to get the announcement, and then Monday we just get to have fun because we're not going to be worried about the renewal. We're going to be able to just focus and go for a great ride. So
Yeah.
8/7 Central, gotta watch it. And hey, if you want to do a foot long, I'm sure Subway would be happy.
Yeah. Or Arby's or Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh, yeah.
Or P.F. Chang's.
Wendy's,
Wendy's, McDonald's.
Applebee's, get a takeout.
Actually, that might be a fun supplement to the Not a Nielsen family. Just for you personally on Monday night, pick one of the advertisers and actually make that part of your finale event and tweet them and say, I'm doing this for the finale. Mm-hmm. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah. Do that. I'll do it.
Very, very cool. So I guess from this point, speaking of about thanking advertisers. Oh, is that a good segue or what?
Yes. Pat on the back to
Give
you.
him a couple weeks off and look what he does.
Yeah, so we're going to thank our sponsors now. Turn your Mac into the coolest television and DVR in the house with award-winning iTV from Elgato. Whether you get your TV signal from an antenna or from a digital box, there's an iTV tuner to suit your needs. Watch live TV on your Mac, record a TV show or series, and enjoy the episodes you've recorded later on your Mac, iPad, or iPhone. You can even stream live TV straight to your iPad with the optional iTV app. You can find all this at www.elgato.com. And we want to thank the rest of our sponsors, ielabs.com, makers of the award-winning Action Blue AVCHD conversion software, which authors full HD videos on regular DVD discs. It even works with HD clips from the iPhone and the new iPad 2. You can get your free trial of the software at ielabs.com. We also want to thank the Movie Morons podcast at moviemorons.com. They are actually highly intelligent and talk about new movies, classic movies, and movies that you may not have even heard of but are worth a trip to the video store to find, and even interview filmmakers and authors. moviemorons.com. And last but not least, SerienJunkies.de.
Hello, this is Christina Caramel from Serienjunkies TV. Are you addicted to TV shows? Be our guests and learn the latest news and reflections on what's going on in the world of TV series. Well, our show is in German, but maybe you want to drop in anyway, then visit www.serienjunkies.de and watch out for our video podcast. See you.
And we're back, and we don't have much more to say, so I guess just make sure you watch live on Monday night. And if you don't want to hear spoilers, boy, this is podcast, 89? You should know by now. Mm-hmm. Pull out the headphones or press stop or pause. But if you do want the spoilers, we actually have some really encouraging ones this time. Encouraging, talking about possible renewal. So if there was one time you wanted to watch spoilers, this might be it. But if you don't want to, we totally respect that. Have a great weekend. See you on Monday night.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Spoiler warning. And we're back with spoilers. Mel, what have you got for us?
Well, we have the official synopsis for episode 424, Chuck versus the Cliffhanger, airing May 16th. Operation Bartowski races to take down Vivian Volkov as she threatens Chuck and Sarah's wedding. Linda Hamilton, Lauren Cohen, McKenna Melvin, Richard Burke, and Timothy Dalton guest star. Before he can kiss the bride, Chuck must enlist his wedding party to take down Vivian Volkov and stop her from destroying the big day. When he turns to Alexei Volkov for help, the CIA sends its toughest agent, Clyde Decker, played by Richard Burge, to stop them. Yvonne Strahovski, Joshua Gomez, Adam Baldwin, Sarah Lancaster, Ryan McPartland, Scott Krinsky, Vic Sahai, Mark Christopher Lawrence, and Benita Friederici also star.
Woo!
You know, something we didn't talk about in the episode discussion was the fact that Vivian was able to use that device on Sarah, and it didn't kill her right away. And a lot of people were asking about that after the episode aired, and my theory on that was that earlier in the episode, when they were at that meeting, she said you can use it from, half a world away. And I'm wondering if they hadn't tested that yet, and distance, reduces the potency. So that's why Sarah didn't die right away.
Yeah, because everybody we've seen, because in the beginning of the episode, they were testing it. Right. Presumably for the first time.
Yeah, the guy was 5 feet away.
Yeah.
And bam.
And same with the boardroom. Yeah.
Yeah. Although you have to wonder if the Italian that Morgan was impersonating, is he dead now?
I guess we'll never know.
I don't know. And we also didn't mention the MI6 guy who his James Bond style exposition.
Yeah.
Riley's just like, shut up, bang.
Yeah.
Oh. That was an Indiana Jones moment.
It was.
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh, it was funny though. So in addition to the synopsis we have for the finale, there also are a couple of promotional stills that have been leaked to TV Guide, given to them by production. The first one is of Sarah in a wedding dress looking absolutely stunning. And the second one is of Sarah in a tub of ice looking not nearly as stunning. So she's in the second one where she's in the tub of ice. She's, Chuck is there and it looks like she's feverish. She's running at high temperature. And so they are, cooling her down, trying to cool down her core temperature, probably to stop whatever the poison is from spreading, too. So we've got a couple of stills up at chucktv.net. I don't know if those will be the only ones released for this episode. We didn't get any for Chuck versus the Last Details. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yep.
Well, TV Line has some Chuck season finale information for us, including how the season will wrap up, but still leave a path to explore in the potential season 5. So the question is asked by Jeff. Since you are almost as big a fan of Chuck as I am, I need to know, what is your degree of confidence that season finale can also serve as a satisfying series finale if NBC does the unthinkable and unforgivable? This question is asked, of course, of Ausiello, who replies, to be honest, my confidence level was pretty low, but then I spoke to executive producer Chris Fedak, and it shot through the freaking roof. Yikes. Despite the finale being titled Chuck versus the Cliffhanger, Fedak assured me that the episode features some fantastic resolution to a number of the stories that we set up this season. But as has become something of a Chuck tradition, the final scene features a cliffhanger component that launches us very much into a possible season 5, Fedak adds. So, what would such a season look like? There were a number of stories that we've always wanted to do, even from season 1, involving who Chuck is as a person and as a hero. So season 5 would be an extension of that. That's all from Chris Fedak. So interesting.
Yeah. Boy, if I were to hazard a guess, just based on that comment, I would say that Chuck and Ellie figure out a way to unlock Volkov and to fix him, and somehow he is able to talk down Vivian.
Yeah, I think so. We see in the promo, and also in that still that was leaked from the set when there was that the day the press were on the set when they were filming the finale, and Timothy Dalton is wearing his Tuttle clothes. Remember when we first met him and he was wearing the slacks and the sweater?
Mm-hmm.
He's wearing those again. And some people have wondered if that's because he's back to being Tuttle or Hartley instead of Volkov.
Interesting.
So he gets fixed in the finale.
Very cool. Well, also from TV Line, some more finale news. The question from Jeremy was, in last week's Ask Ausiello, you mentioned that the Chuck season finale broke the bank budget-wise. Care to elaborate? Do you know what was so expensive? And Ausiello says, the mother of all action sequences, according to FEDAC. It's set in the desert and includes a super motorcycle, lots of special effects, and a truck getting blown off the road. It has an element of Duel, which is Steven Spielberg's first movie. There's also an element of Road Warrior, and an ode to the television show Street Hawk, which I watched as a kid. So it sounds like the action component will be top-notch in the finale. And so,
I haven't seen any of those things. Have you?
Yeah, Duel. It was basically the entire movie was a chase sequence, basically, with a giant truck chasing on the highway.
But you didn't see the driver.
Yeah, you didn't see the driver, and so it basically it's amazing in the respect that you think, what other movie has ever been just all about a chase, and yet it's very suspenseful and lots of action through the whole thing.
Yeah, it worked. And Road Warrior, I saw Road Warrior too.
Yeah, I saw that
that's
so
one of those
long
Mad
ago.
Max movies, isn't
Yeah,
it?
Mad Max. Yeah.
Okay, I have seen that one. Yeah, I think we just call it like Mad Max 1 or something. Yeah. So it's going to be action packed.
Yeah, action packed, but also emotion packed.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very cool. Yeah, I mean, they did so well with Phase 3. I think if they were to imitate any of that, they'll do well to do so.
I think so. And in the promo that aired after after Chuck versus Last Details, there was something that really caught my eye, is that there's a shot of Chuck. It's at the very end, and he's in the back of the limo, it looks like, because it says just married on the window. Says he's looking at something, and it looks like it's a computer screen because there's some light reflecting back in his face. And it says, "Oh boy," which of course was Quantum Leap, the catchphrase for Scott Bakula, and he used it a couple of times on Chuck.
Interesting.
So is that an Orion reference?
Wow. Well, I think the finale we're going to be watching several times.
Yes.
There's going to be a lot to dissect.
Yeah. Anyway, so I guess that's all we have for this week. So see you next time.
Bye, Checksters.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.